All right, welcome to day 3 of force fetch with Bexley. So yesterday we left off with asking her to reach for dummies, and we started doing little short comeback drills where she would go get the dummy, immediately turn, come back, and sit to deliver to me. So we'll do a little bit of review from yesterday before we push forward. Start with the easy dummy. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl. Sit. Good. Very nice. Drop. Good girl. Right heel. Sit. No, not good enough. Heel. Sit. All right, since she did that so well, we always want to increase the level of difficulty when a dog succeeds. So I'm going to reach this out as far as I possibly can. Wait, that's good that she wants to go get it. Okay, fine. Good girl, good. Good dog. Very nice. Good. Drop. Good job. Good. All right, heel. Sit. Good. All right, we'll switch dummies. We'll go to a tougher dummy and just do the same thing. Come on. Sit. Stay. Still just working on general obedience too with Bexley. Ready? Fetch. Good girl, good. So I'm giving her lots of verbal praise. I do the hand clapping too. Sometimes that helps keep dogs a little more excited. Makes it fun. Drop. Good girl. Good. Okay, now that she's doing that really well, our next objective, sit, is to have her working towards picking dummies up off the ground. So rather than just going immediately to me setting the dummy on the ground, I like to transition them to that by having them reach for it close to the ground first. So we'll kind of ease her into it. Are you ready, Beck? Ready? Fetch. Good girl. Come here. So I was holding the dummy a few inches above the ground. Good. So that she could get used to reaching down lower for it. Drop. She got a little correction there just for mouthing a little bit. All right, come here. Sit. Good. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl. Some dogs pick this up really quickly. Sit. Some dogs really struggle with the transition to the floor. She seems pretty enthusiastic, so this next time I'm actually going to have part of the dummy touching the floor. Again, we're just moving forward with very slow baby steps. Here. Sit. Immediately, please. Sit. Good. All right. So again, dummy will be touching the floor this time, but I'll still hold one end up so it's still easy for her to grab it. Stay. Fetch. Good, good girl. Good job. Little chomping. Fetch. Let's go. Yes, good girl. Okay, so I helped her out a little bit there. Since she hasn't actually picked up off the floor yet, I think it's unfair to ask her to pick up her drops off the floor. So I picked it up, and you could see as soon as I picked it up, she knew that she should grab it. So we know now that she knows what the ear pinch means. So we can start to apply it after we teach her to pick up off the floor. Here, come here. Now when I transition to floor, I like to pick up the pace a little bit. We do kind of rapid fire retrieves. Bexley, sit. Sit. Good. So we'll do several in quick succession here without much narration, just so you can see how she progresses from picking up out of my hand to picking up off the floor. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl, good. Sit. Good job. Drop. Yes, good girl, come here. Sit. Struggling with sit today. Ready? Okay, fetch. Yes, good girl. gonna keep pressure on her ear, at least touching her ear, so that she knows the retrieve command is in place. Ready? Okay, fetch. Yes, good girl. Good job. All right, so I removed my hand from the dummy just split seconds before she touched it with her mouth. That's huge. Again, some dogs really struggle. Like as soon as your hand isn't touching the dummy, they don't seem to understand that that's what you're asking them to retrieve. Thankfully, Bexley has made that connection. Most of these tougher dogs, these 2x4 dogs as you might call them, are much better at working through this at a quick pace. All right, so again, we'll just slightly increase level of difficulty with distance. Ready? Okay, fetch. Good girl! That's such a good dog. Very nice. Good. Doing much better today on the deliveries where she's sitting to front instead of trying to circle around as much. Good girl. All right, come here, heel. Just keep her loose. Just heel her around for a second. Sit. Sit. Yep, I mean it. All right, so we'll keep switching the dummies. Ready, back? Okay, fetch. Good girl. I left a finger on the dummy and a finger on her ear, just a little longer on that one, just because this is a little bit harder dummy. I'm trying really hard here to not correct her quickly for the sit. When they have a poor hold like this and you yank them up into a sit, they are going to drop it. Drop. I don't usually correct these types of hold because as we progress through force fetch, she's going to get, you know, pinched or buzzed if she drops anything. So they eventually learn on their own how to get a nice grip on things to avoid any sort of correction. Come here. Sit. Good. Stay. Okay, so you can see that I haven't been really harsh on the stay command previously in this video. I let her kind of move with me. Sorry, she's feeding off a cue there. I let her move with me to grab the dummy because I wanted her to have that forward momentum to help just again hint that she needed to move forward to pick up the dummy. But now we're going to make it a little harder where I'm actually going to stop momentum, set the dummy down. Ready? Fetch. Good girl! Very nice. So I did still give her some cues, but hopefully you can see the difference. Drop. Between me walking with her to go get the dummy versus me placing it for her. Good girl, come here. Let's do it longer. Okay, sit. Sit. Good. Okay, so then we just increase the distance. So we're at about 5 or 6 feet right here. And I'm placing it instead of tossing it. Don't toss dummies because then dogs think it's a game. And while I want them to enjoy this, I also want them to understand that it is work, it is a command. Ready? Fetch. Good girl! I took a couple steps with her. I gave her a little more direction than I normally would. Now we're screwing around with the delivery. Let's go, fetch. Come on, right here. So I'm gonna help her because she doesn't understand. Yep, you gotta get it. This is pretty normal for them to get a bite. I'm gonna help pull her up so that she can be successful. See what's going on. I'm going to keep applying pressure until she grabs the dummy. She's not getting that, so I'm going to help her. Yes, good girl. Sit. All right, so she was struggling there where she didn't quite know what to do. She wasn't going to look for the dummy in that moment. So I continued helping her until she was successful. So you can see how I was raising the dummy up so that it was more easily visible for her. And then we were able to overcome that. All right, come here. Sit. I don't know why she's not sitting today, but we'll switch to another dummy. And since we just had that little blow up, it's important to take a step back. So instead of placing it and doing a stationary retrieve, I'm going to go back to moving with her. Are you ready? Okay, fetch. Yes, good girl. Hey, come here. Good, sit. Good girl. So you can see here too why when we force fetch a dog, we're not just retrieving or teaching them to retrieve, but this is where they also get really solid on basic obedience, which this dog has not had a lot of background in that. So she's learning here to come when called, to heel, to stay. These are all new concepts for her. So she's learning a lot more than just retrieving. It is helpful for both you and your dog if you work on all this before force fetch, so that we don't have to add learning to sit to the to-do list for today's training session. All right, ready back? Okay, fetch. Good girl. Sit. Good. And that's why she's still wearing a leash too. You know, if I trust the dog to come when called and to heel, then I remove the leash because it is a bit of a hindrance. You can see it, she's stepping on it and it gets in the way, but she needs it because I don't trust her yet to perform without it. Good girl. All right, come here. Come here. All right, now we're gonna go back to the dummy that we had issues with. Now that we've built up our confidence a little bit. Ready? Fetch. Good girl. She broke a little early, but I'll allow it because, fetch. Right here. Right here, back. Yes, good girl. Just gonna say I would allow the break and stay because it's more important for her to be excited about retrieving than to learn the stay command. And ideally we'd do both. But she had a drop there, so had to fix it. Good girl. Drop. She still wasn't sure enough of the ear pinch to immediately look for the dummy. You know, once you get further along, as soon as they drop the dummy and you even touch their ear, they're desperately searching for the dummy to try to get it back in their mouth as quick as possible. But man, we're on day 3, so she's not that far along yet. But she did respond positively when I held the dummy out where she could see it. Let's try the furred dummy just to do something different. Ready? Okay, fetch. Good girl, come on. Fetch. Yes, good girl. I just gave her a little bit of a pinch there, pointed at the dummy so that she understood that she absolutely must make that retrieve. Good girl. Drop. So that is progress. We'll go back to rapid fire here. Okay, go. She still doesn't believe me that I'm going to enforce the command. She doesn't think that the fetch command is obligatory yet, and that's why we're going through this process. And that's why we introduced the ear pinch, so that we could say, no, we are going to enforce every command that we give. Right, heel. Just giving her a circle to loosen up. Sit. Good. Okay, fetch. So I backed up there. Hey, come here. You know, I didn't have the dummy touching the ground all the way. Every time the dog struggles, you need to take some steps backwards to help them succeed before we can press forward again. Good girl. Come here. Sit. Good. Okay, fetch. Yes, good. That's a good dog. back to stationary. Fetch. Yes, good girl. That's a good dog. Good job. Good girl. Drop. Good. That's a good dog. Yes. Good. Good. All right, come here. Try to always be consistent too. I know it's, with the camera, I'm trying to keep spinning her around so you can see what I'm doing. Typically, I'm not training with the camera on, so it's much easier for me to just keep working the dog back and forth instead of always resetting them. But I want everybody else to learn how to do this too, so people can train their own dogs. Okay, go back to this dummy that's sometimes an issue. Ready? Okay, fetch. She's refusing it, so we're gonna make her realize that she can't refuse it. Yes, good girl, good. That's why we keep the distances short too, because we need to be able to step in and quickly correct the dog if they refuse the retrieve. Drop. Good. That time was better. Like, she still needed that pressure. However, you could see she did pick it up off the ground by herself this time instead of me having to pick it up for her. All right, come here. Let's take a walkabout. Good girl, come on. Come on. Sit. Good. We'll do it a little shorter. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl. Sit. So that time I held her ear just as a reminder, hold it, that she needed to complete the retrieve, but I didn't actually apply any pressure. Drop. So just me holding her ear was enough of a signal to her that, hey, I better just complete this retrieve as asked. Good girl. Good. Stay. Just keep switching dummies. Ready? Okay, fetch. She's trying to refuse it, so I'm just keeping her ear. Good, good girl. But you could see how she was kind of pulling away there. She didn't really want to do it, and I never did pinch her. Good. Drop. But again, just by holding the ear, that was enough for her to recognize that that was a signal, that was a command that she must obey. Ready? Okay, fetch. She's trying to bite my hand. That's not acceptable. Good, yes, good. So as soon as she grabs the acceptable item, the dummy, we release the pressure. Good girl. Good. Drop. All right, this dog is a little stressed at this point. This has been a tough training session for her. So I don't think we should push it anymore today, but we will just back off and end on something really easy. Come here. Right here, Bex. Sit. So we'll go back to just a quick comeback drill where she gets to reach for it out of my hand. Something that will help build her confidence and excitement for tomorrow's training session. You okay? Ready? Okay, fetch. Yes, good girl. Good. That's a good girl. Good dog. Drop. All right, so we ended on a positive note. We'll call that a day. We might train again this afternoon. I like doing 2-a-days for these young dogs when we're still training in the house. But otherwise, she's almost picking it up off the ground. Or she did pick it off the ground a few times, but now we just need to build some consistency there. All right, stay. Still learning. Sit. Stay.